Namaskar. Someone just asked me, does prayer work? And there's no short answer to this question because it does and it doesn't. So let's look at it. Two questions to keep in mind is, what are we praying? And to what are we praying? And unless we understand both of those, we don't understand prayer. If I sat here or stood here, please God, give me the body I had 30 or 40 years ago. Give me the vitality and energy I had back then. Bring me complete healing of all my age ailments. And I pray to you with this perfected body. Let me never grow old. Let me never die. Let me never die to this life. Let me live here forever. Either here in this town, on Earth, on some planet in space, somewhere, let me stay alive. It wouldn't work. Because what we're praying goes against nature. And nature carries the higher authority here. If we believe that there's an order to the universe, that order can't be changed. Part of our natural course in life is to be born, to live, and to die. We can't cheat that process. So the problem there is what we are praying is not understood. Now, what's the other thing? The other thing is, to what are we praying? Before I answer that, though, let me ask this, or make this point. If you have something, or if I have something that you need, and you approach me, there's two ways you can get it from me. You can accept my rejection and say, no, I can't give that to you. Or you can coerce me into giving it. And with prayer, the first thing is saying, well, if God rejects me, he doesn't love me. And the second thing is, well, it's the magical approach. God will do whatever I want. And both of these are wrong. And so this, again, for what is praying, not only does it go against nature, it goes against the way we interact with each other as human beings. Now for the hard part. What if there is nothing but this universe and there's no heaven out there and there's no God out there in his heaven? That there's not this person up there like us, but much, much more powerful, infinitely powerful, some people believe, almighty, who's up there calling the shots down here on earth. And then we say, oh, well, God can do it, but doesn't do it. Or God doesn't love me enough to do it. And what we're doing is projecting something that's not real. Because when you realize there is no heaven out there, and there's no God out there, somewhere out there, way out there in his heaven, then your prayers change when you understand that. And then you ask, well, is there any point to prayer if there's no point to this God that we can appease or ask things from? What do we do then? So let's look at it. If we understand that the power that's greater than us is the power of love, that love is seen as God, and that the universe itself is God, and that there's no almighty God like us in human form or similar out there to do our bidding, then our prayer changes. So what two valid types of prayer are there for our needs? Okay, the first one I call the prayer of no hope. When you've done everything you can, when people have done everything they can, as in the case of somebody that's sick and dying, and you know you're at a point where you know the person will die and there's nothing you can do. You can beat yourself over the head with a stick saying there's got to be something I can do and deny that it's out of your control. Or you can relinquish control over it. Put it in the hands of God, of the universe, in the hands of God, in the hands of love. Because the power of love is what we turn to in that. The power of love is a mystery. We don't really understand how it works. We don't have predictable results, but we open up to it. And we hope that this comes through for us through love. That the love that we have for the person we're praying for, or that our needs are important enough that somehow somebody, if the power of the universe in there, maybe the power of a person is there, and you can somehow connect with that. The other prayer is a prayer of hope and work. When you do have hope, when you do think you can change things, and you strive to do that. So with hope and work, and this process is the same for the first one, the prayer of no hope, but it's more obvious when you have hope how it works. Think of the intention of the need that you have or the need somebody else that you love has. And you're praying for them that this will come through for them. Our prayer is like a seed that we plant in the ground. And that seed may or may not sprout. It may not grow, but it might. And if we don't plant that seed in the ground, there's no chance of it growing. So what are we doing then? And we're taking our intentions and we're planting them like seeds for harvest. We water them with love. They may or may not sprout. We may or may not harvest them. But if we don't make the effort, nothing comes out of it. Now, this is spiritual. This is mental. This is physical. Because when we water the prayer with love, it involves work too in many cases. If there are things we need to do to bring it about, like in a case of injustice, that we need to speak out and act and do things and bring awareness to, then we have to do that. If it's to help a person, you know, the jokes are made all the time. Well, praying for them is really nice, but it's really better if you just help them. Well, both go together. Because on a spiritual level, what we're doing is tuning ourselves and into the universe around us and understanding this is the situation and this is what needs to be done. This is what my hope is. I plant this seed of hope and hope that this works. So there's no expectations in either of these approaches to prayer. It's not a magical spell that, oh, I've got to do this, or can I convince God to do it for me? Can I convince God to do it for me? Maybe if I'm really nice to him, do some extra prayers, bribe him, whatever. Win his favor. Get support from him that others don't get. This is not the way to prayer. What we do is focus on the goodness and bringing it into existence. Then I get the question often, well, Mark, you're a Hindu priest and you believe all this. Then why are you doing all these rituals? Why are you praying for people if you don't really believe that there's a God you're making an impact on to give us favors? Well, it's different. It's like that seed that I talked about being planted. The most basic thing is we use our mala beads, or not, or just do the mantra and repeat the mantra. And with each repetition of the mantra, go through the offering of that seed as we do the mantra. Offer that seed. Offer try to plant that seed of goodness. If we're doing puja and we have a murti or a yantra in front of us, we place offerings with the mantra on the yantra or at the feet of the murti. Or in the fire ceremony, the homa, we build the fire. What does the fire symbolize? The fire symbolizes love and consciousness. And that consciousness is within us. So when we are making these offerings into the fire, we're making it into our own consciousness, which is the consciousness of the universe on a collective consciousness level. We are planting the seed of hope within that fire. And if that fire is love, the offering we make is offering that hope into the fire. When we do that for a particular purpose and not just to kindle the love within our hearts, which is the basic fire ceremony. We're kindling the love within our hearts through the offerings to the fire. But when it's done for another person, when it's what intercessory prayers Christians say, when we're doing that, then we're making each offering becomes a seed of hope that is planted. And we hope that this does come through. Not just by inaction, but also backed by action. So I hope this explains things to where prayer is not seen as some magical process that should have guaranteed results, nor is it a useless process, that it is a very psychological and physical process by which we open up in love to the universe and to the people around us and to our own needs. Thank you.